Hello everyone, this is Persephone and I'm forced out of hiatus because I'm about to take legal action against a female stalker. Today I want to tell you the story about how it all began and the abuse is ongoing. Not to play the victim, but because I believe that when someone is slandering and harassing you, they don't have the right to silence you. And also because I want to give people an understanding of what we go through online when we want to make money and we want to make a change, and that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Before we start, I want to give you some very brief information to understand why this all began, and like I said, it's ongoing. So, a few years ago, I was a person lacking in many ways. I mean, I still do, but some of these issues have improved. And one of them was I would befriend people based on the fact that we had bad experiences in common or traumas in common. For example, I have narcissistic parents, and I would become friends with people who have narcissistic parents too, because I felt that they can understand me more than someone who comes from a more normal family. This, on hindsight, has proven to be a problem because many of these people may share similar traumas, but they don't process the trauma the same way I do. I'm a fighter, and I take pride in that, and my channel and my help is for people who also want to fight. So I became friends with some people that they were members of the antinatalist community. I'm going to change the names for the protection and the privacy of the not so innocent. And among them was a girl named Brenda that at first I felt we have a lot in common. But after a while, I realized that we don't. And there were some things that made me feel that we're better off not being friends. I'm going to list these things because she's watching everything I do. She's going to watch that. And like I said, this is the first and the last time I'm addressing this. After that, it's close to me. I want nothing to do with these people in my life ever again. So one very big problem is that I'm not an antinatalist, and I'm generally anti-abortion with very few exceptions. For example, I don't believe that it's my right to tell someone who has been a victim of sexual assault to keep the child, or someone whose child has genetic problems, but I don't support I have sex drunk unprotected and then I get pregnant and I discard the baby. Because I was also one of the babies that there was a lot of talk. My parents were teenagers, if they should keep me or not, and my mother wanted to drive to the abortion clinic and all that. So overall, I see life as a good thing. That's just my personal opinion and no one needs to share it. So I don't want to be friends with people who support antinatalism. I also consider antinatalism a very narcissistic philosophy. You decide that the extinction of humanity is a very good thing overall. What is this freaking mental illness? I also support assisted suicide if someone lives in extreme pain and they want to end their life with dignity. It's not my place to tell them not to do it. But to narcissistically decide that all people have a collective bad experience and that they shouldn't exist, that's narcissism. Who are you to be the spokesperson of humanity? Who appointed you? So that was one of the things that I didn't like about her, but I kind of tolerated it. Here is the thing. In 2023, I have changed as a person. I cannot agree to disagree. If you're going to be my friend, we have to agree. Not agree in an echo chamber, but agree in a way our basic life philosophies have to align. So I'm a fighter. I take pride in that. And if there was one thing I could do against my abusers, that would be to outlive them. But beyond that, I'm getting up every day and it kills them. Trust me, if you're watching me and you're a victim of abuse and depression, it kills them to see you standing. It's a slow death every day. So I don't have time for people who have let go of the fight. Again, I respect that. I have no ill will against anyone. I have no problem with how someone processes their life. A second thing is that I don't come from the same level of privilege as many of them do. Personally, I do not have time to be all day on Twitter. Some of these people have 10,000 tweets. For me, that's insane. I'm actually very proud to share with you that for the first time after many years, I've made real life friends, that they know me, and I have so much fun with them. I can actually go out with them after a very self-isolating life, not just because of the you-know-what virus. So if I can choose between having an experience with a friend in real life and chatting nonsense online, I'm going to choose the real life. And I think this is a healthy step towards me, and I want to encourage people to do the same. And between you and me, my personal experience is that each and every single person I befriended online has proven to be a snake or a disappointment one way or the other. So I don't want to try again. And in 2023, I don't want online friends. I have a responsibility towards my fans, so I'm going to produce the content, I'm going to put it online. The self-help content is always going to be 100% free on the new YouTube channel. You don't have to pay anything. Also, I'm going to keep Revenge Star as mainly femdom focused because literally thousands of people have asked me to continue talking about femdom and I can't ignore that anymore. So we will separate the content. Revenge Star is going to be mainly femdom. The other YouTube channel is going to be mainly the rest. And I think this was going to work. So here is where the problem begins. After we had built up tension with Brenda because of our incompatibilities, and I'm not going to waste our time with long ancient drama, I had sent her a very, very heated email. I'm not proud of what I wrote, but I was very angry. I said, you have too much privilege, that's your problem. Because Brenda lives with her parents, she has a support system, they cook, they clean, and also I'm going to say that she has a materialism that I don't share. I would never spend money for designer bags. I would never spend money for $200 on perfumes, for example. And for me, in 2023, this is enough incompatibility to be a deal breaker. Like I said, I don't want to agree to disagree. I want to not have disagreement because I have so many other fields to fight in my real life. So my friends have to be a place for me to be my real self without getting triggered. I mean, if I have $5,000 to spare, first of all, I was going to do cat rescue and animal rescue. Second, I would start setting up a non-profit for victims of trafficking. Third, I would use it to buy good food for me and my family to improve my health. I would use it to buy stocks. I would use it to start a business. I would not waste it on some freaking overpriced, useless bag. That's just my personal philosophy. Again, if you like designer bags, you do you. I even know people who have channels analyzing and comparing their designer bags. I'm never going to go to their channel and insult them. I just don't want them as friends. They're not up to my standards. Narcissistic, maybe. Well, that's just my opinion. We have free speech. There's nothing you can do about it. So after all of that, I told her the first time that I'm not interested in continuing. I have a website I have an account on ManyVids. It's a place where we sell adult content. I'm not going to name it to promote it because this is not what the video is about, but I have to explain something to you. ManyVids has a section with items, which is something like a wish list, where someone can buy you an item. People list items that they want. I had sunscreen, I had cat food, I had a bunch of stuff that I like and I use in my everyday life. So Brenda, I think it was before the holiday, she bought an item from ManyVids for me. Now you're going to say, Persephone, do you have dementia? What is the problem with someone trying to help you even if you're no longer friends? The problem is that there was no contact with this person, and ManyVids has an obligatory policy that when someone buys us an item, ManyVids sends us their email contact information to contact them and thank them. So I contact her and I say, thank you for that. I'm not online in 2023. I focus on real life, friendships and relationships. Take care. Which is a very clear message saying, I don't want to deal with you, honestly. Because I don't. And after that, I completely forgot about it. And the whole thing was closed. So a few days ago, I get a message from ManyVids again, saying that someone bought a much more expensive item. I mean, after ManyVids takes a cut, I was getting $30 from that or something, and it was again from her. And because I don't want to take anyone's money and not provide what is asked from me, I messaged ManyVids and I said, can you please cancel the transaction and refund the buyer because I don't want to interact with them. And they did. But between you and me, this is interfering with my workplace and making me look problematic, the buying, canceling, and all that. So after that, I said, it's my fault. I didn't have poor boundaries. And I sent a message saying exactly that. I'm not an antinatalist. I'm not good suited to be your friend. There are much better suited people to be your friends. Take care. Don't contact me anymore and take care. And ever since, this person has been conducting a smear campaign against me on Twitter, lying that I used antinatalism as an excuse to discard them, that I'm toxic, that I'm not an antinatalist just because my mother tried to kill me. It took a lot of my willpower to not curse you for that, because I know you watched this video. Mocking one of my biggest traumas that I barely escaped alive. So I'm going to set up a boundary here first and foremost. No one owes you friendship. Okay, especially people who are online personalities that don't owe you that harsh, yes, but sometimes it's good to have some good reality checking. Second, for the victims of abuse who are watching me, for the people who are struggling with the things that I'm struggling, I'm not obligated to accept someone in my life time after time because they feel they're entitled to it. And on Twitter, Brenda was claiming that she's worried about me and that's why she was trying to buy me a gift out of the goodness of her heart. Well, here is something. I have the right to medical privacy as much as any other person online. The fact that I chose to share that I have a health problem that is relatively minor and I chose to go on a hiatus to take care of my health does not give you the right to pry and ask for more information. Especially when you're using my workplace as leverage, because she knew that if she sends me an email without the money, I'm just not going to respond. But because she's using the items, many of it is forcing me through their obligatory system to respond again and again. That is not the goodness of your heart. If you're this good, you can go to a charity organization, especially for cats or other pets, and make a $30 donation under my name and I never have to know. And if you say, you're sick, I like you, I want to help you financially, there are many anonymous tipping options on many videos. You can send me $30 anonymously or $40 or as much as you want. It's not a gift if you send me the money and then I'm obligated to email you and respond to questions about my medical privacy. I realize that no matter what I do, guys, I feel very disappointed at myself. Everything I say online gets twisted. Every attempt for me to be honest with my fans, someone is going to take advantage of it. Like I said, just because the fact that I shared something about my health doesn't mean I owe anyone an update or friendship. Why don't we agree to disagree? Because that's not good enough. Because personally, all of these talks about how life is horrible, they bring negativity into my life that I don't want. And also, I'm going to tell you a harsh truth you're not going to like. I realized when I started making a lot more money, currently the money that I make in one day, I used to make in some of my old jobs in 1 month, I kid you not. I started to realize that life is awesome if you have money, if you have a lot of money. That there are so many people on this planet that they have awesome lives at least 80% of the time. I know that, of course, life isn't perfect, that even people who are rich or very beautiful or very successful have disappointments and loss and trauma from time to time. But just my honest, humble opinion, for me, if I have the best time 80% of the time, it's good enough. I wouldn't want to kill myself. I want to continue living and I want to make a good difference into this world. So if I have a person in my life and limited time, actually, if I have two people in my life and limited time, and one person shares my life philosophy, and the other person has 15,000 Twitter posts about life is death from cradle to the grave and all the other mentally sick things they post, I'm simply not interested. So, for the first and the last times, the stalker has to stop using my workplace as leverage, has to stop mentioning me on Twitter, and move on with their lives because their location and my location are interconnected and I can find them through my lawyer. So if they don't want me to start a case in the police station, this has to end today. I feel that we reached times of mass psychosis where people say, I'm going to be your friend just because I feel like it. Or the men who sexually harass me on social media when they say, I'm going to date you just because I feel like it. I feel like we would be a good couple. I feel like I would have sex with you and it's good. And that's all I need. I feel like that and you have to comply. I'm a human being as much as you are. And if I tell you I don't want to be your friend and I don't even want to give you a reason, that may sound harsh or rude, but that is also within my human rights. Unless someone is a parent and child or a guardian and a patient or some kind of very legally defined relationship, I don't have any obligation to even respond to all of that crap. And I'm going to tell you, I'm enjoying my life so much more now that I'm not online, I don't have online friends. And I just want to keep these two spheres apart, to just go online, be professional for my fans, for my friends, for the people who pay me, and then go back to enjoy my real life. And just because you worry, you're not entitled to my medical privacy, like I said. And also the lie that truly set me off, because I have people, this person put their Twitter on private, but I have people who are my fans, and they contacted me to ask me if it's me she's talking about, that she says we're kind of close. We're not close. We haven't been close in years. For me, the matter ended when I saw that this person wants to die and they're buying $5,000 designer bags. I'm just not into any of that. And for me, mocking my trauma and saying just because your mother tried to kill you, you're not going to be an antinatalist, you are right. I really hope to anyone who thinks this way that they will never be in a position where someone is actually after them, trying to kill them. It's quite a harrowing experience. But in some way it was very educational because it forced me to sit down at a very young age. I wasn't even 18 when the attempt happened, the last attempt out of many, because looking back and because I'm going back to therapy, I realized there were other times where I was mysteriously ill as a child that almost died, that maybe she could have been trying to take me out. Even then, she didn't want me. There are mothers who kill their children. She didn't want the autist, the creep. So there are times in your life where you have to sit down and decide, who are you? What's your character? And like I said, if I was powerless, if I didn't have anything and I could do one thing, I would outlive her. She would be on her deathbed, thinking that she failed to kill me and she's just going to perish. And that's that. So if you think that I'm weak or delusional or pathetic or whatever, or a narcissist, that's up to you. As long as you don't contact me, we're not everyone's cup of tea, and you know something, after years of being an influencer, I know that's fine. Personally, I'm an anti-antinatalist. Starting today, I'm going to start a campaign on my new channel fighting all of these extremely harmful dead-end philosophies. If someone, for very serious reasons, wants to end their life, like I said, extreme pain, extreme trauma, that's a whole different topic. But between you and me, and I'm going to close this video being a bit petty because I have the right to do so as a victim of extreme cyber abuse, all of these people, what they have in common is too much free time. Brenda doesn't have a job. A lot of her friends are also not having a job. Too much privilege. Not even in my wildest dreams, when I was growing up in my extremely strict family, I would just throw away $200 for perfume just because I feel like it. Like, this is freaking privilege. Own up to it. Too much suicide baiting and faking. Like, if you tell these people, like, why don't you just kill yourself, that they say the haters tell me that, but it is a legit question, excuse my autism. Why do you want the entire humanity to be extinct? I just feel that we should not promote self-harm in any way, especially on social media. You don't know who is going to read it. You don't know who you're going to affect. It could be minors reading it on Twitter. You have to take a moment to think, and you have to seek help. If you're disappointed from psychiatry or from the therapy system, you have to keep trying until you find something that works for you. It took me so much struggle. You would not even imagine the things that I've been through. And I don't say this as a pity party. I say it as a person with pride for what I overcome. And I use present tense because I still overcome things. And it's one of the things that I'm most proud of, that this woman didn't manage to make me obese, didn't manage to make me Xanax dependent, didn't manage to kill me, didn't manage to make me a person that I wouldn't have any friends, I wouldn't have any relationships, and that I still have to give to the world, despite what happened. For me, this is how you use your trauma. I sat down from a very young age to say, if I can use what happened to me to help even one person in need, then it wasn't all for nothing. If I sit on Twitter with my 15,000 tweets retweeting that life is horrible, we should all die, the planet is horrible, then my abuser won. My abuser succeeded into making me an extremely dysfunctional person spreading misery. And like I said, these things are very negative. I don't promote positivity in a toxic way. I promote being realistic. And realistically speaking, is it that life is really so bad? I watched an amazing webtoon that became an anime recently called Lukism, about a guy that he's very overweight and short and ugly, and it shows how they bully him. And then the guy wakes up in the body of an extremely handsome, like 6 feet tall, blue-eyed, almost like a model student, and it shows how his life experience is completely different, and that's why it's called Lukism, like discrimination against someone's looks. And it's very funny, and I recommend it. I'm not paid to promote it. If you want something black-pilled, and you don't want the classic anime where the student gets superpowers, you should definitely watch that. So, are you sure that life is that horrible? Or maybe it's you that you're not on the right path. Maybe it's you that you're not putting up the work. Because I have people saying, you have 35,000 subscribers, someone told me recently. You're so lucky. Oh yeah, I'm so lucky. In these years, I've uploaded and posted over 2,000 videos in total in all of my platforms. That's an average of like 2 or 3 videos every day. So luck had nothing to do with it. Oh wow, you must have very supportive family. When I started, the people who told me you're an ugly creep who will never be anything because of autism and because of who you are, they were on the thousands. I didn't have a single person encourage me. I kept going. If you want one advice from me, keep going. Keep going, and you will learn. The person I am now is not the person I was when I started YouTube channel. I have changed about 80%. And my standards and my boundaries are very high now. I don't befriend people who don't have jobs. I'm not talking about the person who recently lost their job or their business became bankrupt, because I know that we live in dystopian capitalism and these things can happen. I'm talking about the person who is jobless. Mommy and daddy and papa government are paying for their bills and they're posting online. I don't befriend people who are eternal students. I'm sorry, that's not my cup of tea. I want to be friends with people who have businesses, preferably people who are self-made, people who are actual writers like me with published books, people who are into actual fitness and actual self-development, people that they are on the same wavelength, who love animals, who want to do activism, real activism, not like a virtue signaling and bullshit like that. And 80% of the people that they used to be my friends, they don't meet the standards and we part ways peacefully. That's the key. If someone feels entitled to be my friend just because they're worried or just because they feel like it or to date me for the same reason, you need a reality check. No one owes you anything. I'm not your mom, I'm not your dad, I'm not the government in your country, and if I want to go no contact with you, it's my goddamn human right to do so. Enough is enough. We live in this culture of self-indulgence and narcissism. I want it, I'm entitled to it. No, you're not. Have you worked for it? And also, I'm not into people who keep doing the same thing again and again, and they expect different results. I'm going to say this as a small example to close this video, and I don't say it to shame anyone. In Brenda's case, Brenda wants to lose weight, and medically it would be good for her to do so. She has been doing some extremely unhealthy fasting attempts. I've done fasting myself, and it has really helped me. I did it in a very specific way, but it's not for everyone. So it's been years, she still hasn't lost any weight, and she's still going back to fasting again and again and again. I don't have time for people who don't learn from their mistakes. If you tried something more than 3 times and it didn't work for you, it's time to go and try a different method, and there is no shame in that. If you tried a friendship like we did 2 times and it didn't work out, I don't want to try a 3rd time. There is no shame in that. So she keeps doing the same thing, and then if you're her friend, you have to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it. Call me a narcissist. I have become very cutthroat because of all of the horrible things that happened the last years, but in a good way. And I realize now why so many people call self-made rich people like bitches and arrogant and narcissists, because having strong boundaries can really come off as narcissist. But I don't consider myself better than anyone. You can also go no contact with me, you can also not like me, and it can be the same. I'm going to accept it. And there are people who didn't want to be my friends. So what? We move on. The other thing is that I don't have time for people who say capitalism is evil, money are evil, like greed is the source of all evil, all of that. And the same people say, why doesn't the government pay me more when I don't produce more? Why doesn't the government give me a welfare check? Why aren't my mom and my dad like giving me more money? Like what? Excuse me, how do you combine the two in your mind? So you consider money the source of all evil, but same time you bitch and whine about why you don't have more of it? That's not how it works. In general, I like people who are workaholics. I work 16 and 17 hours a day and I freaking enjoy it. And some people are going to say it's a trauma response. I'm fine with having that trauma response. I'm not a drug addict as a trauma response. I'm not a codependent as a trauma response. Let me have my cope. If my cope saves cats and helps people and makes money, let me have it. I don't own anyone my precious time to talk nonsense. Like I said, no online people for me in 2023. If someone watching this video is an influencer or they want a collaboration or they want something, you can email me and we can discuss it. Catching up for the sake of catching up, nope, it's not going to work. And last but not least, you have to understand that if your life sucks, that's not everyone's experience. So don't go around projecting it on others. If you want friends, if you want a girlfriend, you have to be an asset on other people's life. A minimum of 80% of the time, you have to bring things to the table. Constantly whining isn't bringing things to the table. Commiserating isn't bringing things to the table. I actually felt at some point that this person wanted to talk to me. Like the next question that I had as someone who is like trying to study personality disorder is, why now? Why are you hoovering me now? Because that's what it was. It was a hoovering attempt with money to rekindle a dead friendship. Because I shared things that they showed that my life is not going well 2 months ago, which wasn't really that dramatic. Like I said, the way I saw it is just a hiatus to prioritize my health for once. And It's like she wanted to reach out to me and get confirmation through me that life sucks, that we're all sick, that everything is so horrible. And when I refused to provide it, I was a victim of this stalking and smear campaign on Twitter. This is not the way to live your life, to search for confirmation that life sucks. You are going to be, if you engage in this behavior, because I used to also engage in this behavior, if you feel that, for example, all men are cheaters, and you go to victim groups, that Dr. Sam Vaknin, which is a man I respect immensely, said that many victims are actually collapsed narcissists. If you go to these groups and everyone that has been cheated on, and you are in this huge echo chamber, you will end up hating men, you will end up incapable of forming any other relationship, and at the end of the day, the person who cheated on you and hurt you and abused you will have so much power over your life that they practically crippled you. You cannot have other relationships, and you're going to be commiserating with other people who are also cheated on, and no one is working on their issues. Like, for example, why do I attract people who are cheaters? That's an issue that someone can work on. But no, it's easier to say all men this. Life sucks. Death would be preferable. I'm actually a transhumanist. I realized on the real channel that I'm going to have the most, like I say real because it's going to be by far the most raw. I'm going to tell you I believe in the similarity and merging people with technology to extend human lifespan and improve quality of life. So antinatalist in my mind is the stupidest thing on earth. Again, that's just my personal opinion. You will never see me going to an antinatalist channel and insulting, debating. I don't have time for that. People who want to like peacefully get extinct, go do your thing. You are not going to do me. I'm into science. I'm into advancing humanity and eliminating problems with technology and new discoveries. And one last thing to really close this video this time. Oh my God, I had so much to say. In 2023, I should be like making shorter videos. Honesty gets me in trouble every time. I wish I was like these extremely hypocritical people who are just looking out for their own self-interest. In Brenda's case, it says, this is my best friend about someone else, not me, and we haven't seen each other in 7 years. This is not your best friend. A best friend is someone who makes time to see you at least 3 times a year if they live abroad. Because I have friends who live abroad, and I have friends who have best friends who live abroad, and on Christmas holiday, when they have a vacation, in summer vacation, they will take time to catch up. If that's not possible because your friend has a child, because they work a demanding job, they're going to do a 10-minute Zoom call, even a 20-minute Zoom call. They're going to text. The people that matter in my life, every week at least I'm going to text them. I'm going to write them an email. I'm going to catch up with them. If you haven't seen someone in 7 years, they're just trying to naturally drift apart. Do you know what is the real definition of things naturally drifting apart? Someone who doesn't like you and they are slow fading you. Or someone who just doesn't want to give you the time of the day because you're an extremely negative person, bringing them down. So maybe I'm the idiot in all of this, guys. Maybe I'm the idiot because I'm clear and I say to this person that because I don't like your life philosophy, I don't want to be your friend. I'm pretty sure she has many people in her life who just naturally drifted apart because they don't want to deal with any of that crap. But they don't tell her, so her ego is protected. I know that if you end at the point where someone sees you less than 1 time per year, for me, this person is no longer a friend. They have fallen back into an acquaintance. They are not an enemy, but I'm never going to mention a person that I see once a year and say, this is my best friend. They are not. So maybe in the future, should I strive to become one of these extremely hypocritical people saying, oh, we just drifted apart at the age of technology, where so many means are available and you can just be in contact as much as you want. So please, just some food for thought. That's all this video. I'm not better for anyone. I don't hate anyone. Even now for this person, I really want her to find people who are better friends and hopefully to leave this self-destructive toxicity behind. That if we decided that we are staying here in our critical moments, we have to do our best. That's what I think. And my best and someone else's best may not be the same. So let's not try to force things that they don't work out to work out again and again. This is not benefiting anyone. And yeah, it was tempting to say to this person, yeah, let's keep in touch and then just ignore them. But I don't want, this is never going to be me, I think. I'm too autistic for this kind of neurotypical hypocrisy. So online people are people as much as you are. And no one knows your friendship, no one knows your dating. No one has the responsibility to take time out of their real life to chat with you. And no one, most importantly, and this is a lesson I learned thanks to this interaction, people may change. Something that was good enough 3 years ago may not be good enough now, or maybe I'm too different for it. There is nothing wrong with that. If you have noticed, all the people that they have the same friends for 15 years, or they live in the same hometown for 15 years, they're all losers. The people that I see who are successful, in my definition of success, healthy, wealthy, productive, and an asset to their communities, friends come and go, partners come and go. You're not the same person at 25 when you are at 35, when you are 45. And that's fine. That doesn't mean anyone is necessarily liking. Although there are people that they are liking. I don't have time for narcissists. I don't have time for borderlines. I don't have time for people who don't have a job and who are in a semi-parasitical condition for the rest of their lives, and they have a lot of time to chat, and I don't have that time. If you want the best cure for your illnesses and your problems, start a business. You will, mark my words. Starting businesses online has cured me from so many ailments that neurotypical 9-to-5 jobs never had. Even now that I had to get up and make this video, I have to plan the rest of my day accordingly because I don't have 30 minutes to waste. This is self-discipline, self-accountability, self-productivity that I would never have achieved sitting on Facebook or Twitter or whatever cancerous platform all day to discuss my life philosophies. And that's why I was able to make new friends, because these people are also on point, all of them have jobs, all of them do activism. If you think that trying to save stray animals is stupid, that's fine. You can do the thing that gives your life joy and fulfillment. I don't believe that there is one path to happiness. And just because I don't have children, that doesn't mean that I would never foster a child or help a child in need or help a parent in need. Not at all. It means that in my current stage of life, I would not be able to be a good parent according to what is my standards of a good parent, and my standards are pretty high because I had shitty parents. I don't believe that people who have children should be extinct together with their children. And if you believe and promote your philosophies, you're going to find me taking a stand against you, because we have so much cancerous negativity in this world. And I don't want to hear from privileged first world, I'm not going to use the word that I want to use, who carry $5,000 designer bags, so about how bad they have it. You don't have it bad at all.